Hi everybody and welcome to this week's edition of Ave Maria School of Law Insider. I'm John Knowles. Each week we will bring you a conversation with a member of the Ave Maria School of Law community whose work is making a difference. This week is certainly no exception. We are joined by a new professor at Ave Maria School of Law, Professor David Gernado. Welcome, Professor Gernado.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You're new to Ave Maria School of Law this year. Tell us about where you're from and kind of the path that took you to being a member of the faculty here at Ave Maria.
Of course. I grew up in Colorado. My mom was born and raised in Poland. My dad was born and raised in Guyana, and they were both in the Army. And they settled in Fort Carson in Colorado Springs. That's where I grew up. I received a full scholarship to play football at Rice. I then went to Duke Law School to get my Juris Doctor and also to watch a lot of basketball. And then I went and practiced in Los Angeles for 5.5 years at a law firm called Jones Day. I was also at another big law firm called DLA Piper, both a couple of international law firms. And my wife and I, Dr. Jennifer Gernado, when we were about to have our first son, I say we because she held the baby and I just ate a lot more. We decided to go to Houston, Texas, because my mom had then, at that point, moved to Texas. And we had our first son there in Texas, Solomon. And I was working at another international law firm, King & Spalding. And in Houston, we had our second son, Moses. So Solomon and Moses. If we have another one, we'll name him Lord or Yahweh. I get that joke a lot. But we enjoyed our time there in Houston. We enjoyed our time in Los Angeles, and I certainly enjoyed the practice of law. I represented Fortune 100 companies as well as small businesses and individuals, and a significant part of my practice, as well as working for those billable clients, was doing pro bono work. I think pro bono is something that lawyers have a duty to do. It's a privilege to be an attorney. And to give back through pro bono work, I think, is essential to being a good attorney. And it's something, obviously, as Catholics, I grew up Catholic and I'm still Catholic, a practicing Catholic, as is my family. It's important to use our talents to serve others. And certainly I'll instill that in my kids. And I think that's something that I'm trying to instill in the students, even as first-year law students. And in terms of my pro bono work, I worked with to protect the rights of domestic violence victims, the developmentally disabled, First Amendment litigants. I also did an adoption, an unlawful detainer action to represent a war veteran who was being kicked out of his house. So I did, and a few other things, but that was a significant part of my practice. And again, I enjoyed practicing. And I did it for almost a decade, but I always knew that I was going to end up teaching. And I think it's important to teach students not only the law, but give them a sense of, practically speaking, what's it going to be like out there as an attorney, and also to instill in them, like I said, sort of the responsibilities of an attorney to be ethical and moral and to do what's right in the situations, even if the situations are difficult. And Ave Maria School of Law was a fantastic opportunity to transition into the role of a professor, and also into a situation where those ideals and morals and certainly the Catholic faith are present here, and give me a tremendous opportunity to instill in those students exactly what I believe is correct. And it's been a great time. This is my first week of class, and it's obviously the students are very eager. The 1Ls are very eager, and the 2Ls are very bright. And I've been very surprised by how so many of the other professors have given me a lot of advice and taken the time to meet with me and to sort of help me along and to guide me. And I appreciate all the wise counsel I can get. I would be a fool not to listen to it. And even though with 2 concussions, I may miss a few things, I'm picking up a lot, and it's been a great time so far.
Awesome. Professor Gernado, for those in our audience that aren't as familiar with the legal profession, will you explain to us a little bit what pro bono service is and why it's important?
Sure. Pro bono is actually a Latin word. It means for the good. It comes from pro bono publico, for the good of the public. It is legal assistance given to individuals typically who are unable to find adequate representation, primarily because they don't have the funds. And in a lot of situations, such as domestic violence victims, they need somebody to represent them. They come to attorneys, they're scared, and a lot of times an attorney is the first person that they're telling their story to. And the stories that I've heard are pretty awful, but it's satisfying to know that I was able to help them out and to help give them some confidence and some faith and support in those times. And pro bono work is something that even the law students and can get involved with. And I've been told that the participation by Ave Maria School of Law students with pro bono in this area in Florida has been very good thus far. And I'm actually on the pro bono committee. It's a faculty committee that is aimed at increasing pro bono efforts and helping the students understand what's out there for them that they can do, and creating opportunities for them. So even though I was representing Fortune 100 companies, I definitely made time to do that work, which is for free. I mean, you're doing it for free, but a lot of times you're protecting important rights of individuals. I represented, along with other colleagues at King & Spalding, a chaplain who was speaking out against the conditions at a jail in Texas, and she was banned from visiting the inmates and sharing her faith with them. So it was a First Amendment case, and we were able to get a great settlement where she could get back into the jail and minister to those inmates. And again, it was a great opportunity to work with her. And sometimes in pro bono work, the work of the attorney is just sort of the end of it. And what we do is the most critical part in securing certain rights. But in this case, it was a little bit different because the chaplain was inspiring those inmates. She was inspiring them. She was giving them support. She was giving them something that they may not have had otherwise. And a lot of times that was just hope to get through the day, to get through the week, to get through the month. So she inspired us, and it was really a blessing just to work with her and to help her out on that case. So pro bono, there's so many different types of pro bono opportunities out there, and if a student or a lawyer is interested in using their skills, their special skills, to help somebody, they just need to look.
Professor, you were a star on the football field before you became an attorney. Were there any lessons that you took from playing football for Rice University that have helped you achieve success in the legal profession?
That's a great question. And in Colorado, I was all-state in high school. At Rice, I had more of a backup role. I wasn't a star. People ask me what I played, and I tell them left out. But I actually played cornerback and kick returner and punt returner. But certainly the lessons I learned in high school and at Rice in terms of playing sports, one, being in the legal profession is a lot like being on a team, if it's done right, to me personally. For me, that is. It's not go up in your office and try and come out with a solution in 3 weeks. It's you're working on a trial team, you're working with other attorneys, you're giving your ideas, you're working as hard as you can. You're a team. So working as a team, working as a teammate in high school and in college, that really helped me. Certainly preparation. Every week at Rice, we would get scouting reports. There would be film to watch. It's the same thing when you become an attorney. You have to prepare. You have to be prepared in whatever you're doing, whether it's reading, preparing a witness, knowing the cases, whatever that is, you have to be prepared. And also a lot of it is just confidence. And you're going to get knocked down. You're going to get knocked down in football, and you're going to get knocked down in the law. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. When I had lost a trial, I was speaking to other attorneys. They said, if you haven't lost a trial, you haven't done a lot of them. So I had a lot of great victories, a few humbling defeats, and just when you played football, especially playing cornerback, you have to have a short memory. You have to learn, and then you have to move on. And so many lessons can be learned in football. I think it's probably the sport that most resembles life. When you're out there on the field, you have to depend on other people, you have to depend on yourself, you have to have faith, you have to prepare. That's what being a lawyer is. So, to me at least.
Very interesting. You referenced a little bit earlier about how you had always wanted to be a law professor. Even when you were practicing law, you knew that one day you would be in the classroom helping students understand the law. Let me ask you this. What is your research agenda? What are your scholarly interests? What contribution do you want to make to the academy as a member of the faculty at Ave Maria?
That's a great question. And I was working on an article already that's been picked up, an article that I wrote with two of my colleagues at King and Spalding, based on that case that we talked about, that First Amendment case with the chaplain. It's going to be published this fall, or this winter most likely, with the University of North Carolina's First Amendment Law Review. But since I'm teaching professional responsibility and teaching contracts, my research is going to be in those two areas. Primarily at the beginning, it's going to be professional responsibility, as well as looking at what is expected of us as attorneys. What should the expectations be for an attorney? And certainly I'll look at cases and examine that role through cases, as well as the topic we've been talking about a lot here is pro bono. And there's been articles written on that about whether pro bono should be mandatory, looking at sort of the history of pro bono and why there's the argument that it should be something that's expected of all attorneys. I think is going to be something that I'm looking forward to, and also what happens in the issues that arise in pro bono cases that may not be in other cases. And the model rules of the American Bar Association suggest that every attorney should do at least 50 hours of pro bono a year. And where did that come from? Why is it that is something that we should be striving to do? Those are answers that my research hopefully will answer, or questions that my research will answer, and those are issues that I'll be looking at, and in specific cases, issues that come up relating to professional responsibility and pro bono.
Professor, a lot of our viewers are your students. They're members of the class of 2014. If you had a one-sentence or a 10-second piece of advice to give each of them as they embark upon their study of the law, what might that be?
Well, the first day of class for both my 1L and 2L class, I read to them a Bible verse from 1 Samuel 17, verse 48, I believe. And it is, I'm paraphrasing, that when the Philistine drew near to attack David, David ran toward the battle line. And I'm not telling you the story because I played football and I'm 5'1". I'm actually 5'6". But the story of David Goliath is one that's near and dear to my heart. But that verse is not always talked about. But the fact that when David was faced with overwhelming odds, a daunting task, and it seemed like, how in the world is he gonna do this? He came in with faith. He came in with confidence and faith not only in himself but in God. And I think that as first-year law students, as second-year law students, and third-year law students who are embarking on their legal career, they have to come in with that same attitude as well. They have to be confident that what they're doing is the right thing. They have to be confident that they can do well and have faith in God that He's going to help them through it, provided they put in the right work, the necessary work and the necessary preparation to do their best.
Well said, Professor. Thank you for your time today, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, David Gernado, new professor, new member of the faculty here at Ave Maria School of Law. He is an accomplished legal practitioner, somebody with a very exciting research agenda, and someone we're very excited to welcome here to Naples as a member of our faculty. Ladies and gentlemen, Ave Maria School of Law is proud to give you once more Insider, where each week we talk with somebody here at the law school whose work is making a difference and an impact on us all. Professor David Gernardo is certainly no exception. We'll see you next time on Ave Maria School of Law Insider.